All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of TOA Sound Supply. It's great to be here. This week we have a special guest, so we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we'll introduce them in just a moment. So let's go over how we're going to be doing this episode of the podcast. We have a special guest from the industry. He's going to give us an update on his business and what's going on currently, as well as his experience with a certain product that is pretty crucial in today's industry. It's our IR system, the 802T, and any installations that he's done in the past, or maybe something that he's working on currently. And also, we're going to get into a discussion about today's main topic, which is the pandemic, COVID-19, how his business has shifted, and how he's adapted to the new normal, as we call it, in today's world. So, without further ado, let's introduce Shane. Shane, if you could just provide us with a brief intro about yourself and your role at EPA.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, so Shane King, Director of Sales and Marketing for EPA Audio Visual. We're based out of Rockford, Minnesota, right in the Twin Cities area. We are a 100% commercial AV dealer, kind of serving, for the most part, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little into the Dakotas and Iowa. And all kind of corporate AV and education is really where our focus is. So obviously this product, or a lot of the TOA products in general, have been very timely and good solutions for a lot of those customer groups, to say the least. So
excellent. Shane, you a hockey fan out there?
I am, yes, absolutely. Wild fan through and through. Obviously North Stars fan before that, but
there you go.
yeah, it's cool to at least see him back in action here.
Yeah.
A little odd that it's July, so almost August here playing hockey, but
good to have sports back.
Yeah, yep.
All right. How long has EPA Audio Visual been around?
So we've been incorporated since 1976.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool. What about the size of your business? You guys small, medium, large?
We would be considered medium business. We're just a shade under 50 employees.
Okay, cool. Typical, in terms of your main clients, you did mention education, maybe government installs, commercial installations, typical sizes, maybe some examples of some clients you guys have serviced in the past?
Sure. Yeah. I think a lot that I can talk about would be, heavy focus in higher education. And then obviously, as you can well imagine, in the territory that we operate within, a lot of work within the University of Minnesota, as well as mid-state schools throughout the state. A lot of the University of Wisconsin campuses as well. And there's a handful of private colleges that we do some work with within the area as well.
Gotcha, cool.
Yep.
Before this whole thing hit us here, what were, talking with TOA, what were like some of the main go-to products that you guys were integrating out there?
Sure. Yeah. So I think kind of the A topic with the IR802 in particular, that kit has really kind of served a critical need for one particular customer, a school district, kind of in the southern metro of the Twin Cities, Prior Lake, Savage area schools. And, they were in need of, as close to kind of an all-in-one, almost a single box solution as they could in terms of voice or sound reinforcement and voice lift within their classrooms. And obviously with all the things that usually come into play with a K-12 scenario, the budget is always a concern, but obviously they're looking at a fairly high quality and reliable piece of equipment, and then of course something that's easy to use. And I would say that's by far been our strongest TOA SKU, has been the IR802T. And
cool.
That particular district in and of itself, I think we've done, we'll say by the end of August, we'll have close to 100 units out in the field for them.
Really?
Yep. So that's been a tremendous seller. And of course, we've been a TOA dealer for years and years. And, back to, a lot of just mixers, mixer amps and things like that. So a lot of that product has seen the light of day, and it's obviously comforting to see a lot of that stuff still in operation, even potentially 10 plus years, going into job sites and things like that. So it's been, good quality, reliable stuff for customers, and we don't get a lot of calls on it, which is what we like. So
neither do we, which is a good thing.
Exactly.
And those 100 there, that's 100 different locations.
Yeah, it's 100 different classrooms. So that's spread across, multiple elementary, middle schools and a high school in that district. So yes, and it's been kind of a standard system that we've implemented along with some other equipment. So it's really been, carved into kind of a cookie cutter solution that really fits the need nicely for the vast majority of their classroom environments.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. Getting into your experience with the 802 and the installations that you just spoke about, let's see if we can maybe walk us through the installation process. I don't know what your involvement is with the entire, install itself or the install process. We'll start with how you learned about the IR systems. Was there demand out there? Were you aware of infrared technology at the time? And what discovery and research processes like? How did you find the product? How did you become aware of the 802? And what other products did you evaluate in the market?
Sure, that's all great questions. I think the certainly familiar with kind of IR style, classroom type systems, voice lift type systems, and there's a handful of them out there. Initially there was a competitor product that was a single box product that actually what the client, again speaking about the Prior Lake School District, what they were initially going after. They actually deployed a few of this other product. That was a product that's no longer on the market now, actually, and it seemed to serve the needs. But of course, as we got into it, and then all of a sudden it became a problem where we couldn't get the inventory. And we actually were almost kind of forced into having to look at an alternative product. And so that's when obviously I kind of leaned on, some of my good vendor partners and, trying to come up with something that at least, met the functional requirements and then the performance objectives of these spaces. But of course, we kind of had to come in at a certain price point to where, it was scalable, something that they could easily budget for. And then the IR 802 was kind of presented to us. We actually, got a hold of a kind of a demo unit, did a mock-up install at the district service center, and yeah, the rest is history. I mean, that was more than enough, in terms of, what they needed, feedback, no pun intended, to really move forward with that solution. It addressed their needs. I think if anything, all the initial, maybe, con or almost downside of the system was that it was presented as a two-piece system, and that's not something necessarily the customer was leaning towards initially. And by that I mean, the mixer amplifier portion is separated from the speaker.
Sure.
But by the end of it, once it was obviously deployed, connected, in use, I mean that kind of went out the window. Truly based on what they were able to get out of the system, and quite honestly the functionality and even the upgradability in being able to add a secondary microphone and easily being able to add additional audio sources, although we're not doing it in this case, but the ability of say pulling in building page and doing things like that. Obviously there's a lot of features and functionality in there that makes it capable for what they need now, but of course upgradable or future ready down the road as well.
Cool. Okay, excellent information. In terms of the installation, like I said, I'm not sure about your involvement there, but we do market this product as, yes, it is. There's a couple pieces involved, but very simple in terms of setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
One cable essentially, which is Cat5. Very, very simple. So maybe some feedback from your integrators out there in terms of the integration with the system, how simple it's been, or any pros?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you covered it there. I mean, quite honestly, the ease of install, is top of the list there. So,
right.
Important, if we're rolling out several dozen rooms in a shot, that obviously there's certain items that can really be a bottleneck in installation efficiency. And I'm happy to report that was not the case with this product. The single cable install between the two pieces obviously made it very simple. And of course that's field cabling that we can very easily run and terminate to the distance that we need. Being able to then place the mixer amp portion virtually anywhere we need to, that was always handy, because every install is a little different, but we weren't tied into a proprietary DIN cable or something else goofy that would make that a challenge. And so yeah, I mean the installation portion of it was quite simple, and really
awesome.
no complaints as far as that's concerned. So
Yeah, easy for you guys, and then easy to operate for the the teachers out there. Obviously, they want something very simple, something that
Yep,
connects right away. They just want to push one button, and
absolutely.
this delivers on that. Awesome. Um, any feedback from your clients out there that you can provide us? And you've provided some great feedback. Maybe something you didn't cover, ease of use. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I think I'm not even going to necessarily say this is a negative, but maybe the only initial feedback, and this was dating back to when we first demoed the product, was the fact that it was, just the aesthetic look of the speaker itself.
Okay.
Kind of has a unique look to it. And obviously I'll go on the record of saying, it's all black, which 90+% of the time these are getting installed in a suspended ceiling,
Yeah, like a white drop.
ACT ceiling, that all the ceiling tiles are white. So it
Gotcha.
does stick out, and there could be good and bad with that, of course. I mean, people know that, hey, there is technology in the room, but at the same time, aesthetically, that's feedback where, yeah, maybe if there's an option for maybe white or something that would blend in with the environment a little bit more, that was something that obviously came out of it from the end user.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, functionally and performance wise, it's gotten top marks from anybody that utilizes it. Back to a comment I made earlier. Yeah, we really don't get many calls on these things. Once we do a very simple kind of tutorial or training with the teacher and the instructor, I mean, they're off and running, and seldom do we get a call for any functionality related or obviously any reliability type issues. Having the ability of managing two different microphones simultaneously has certainly been a positive for them.
Mhm.
I think one thing that's been called out, and I've gone on record and had conversations with TOA, with our rep and a number of other folks, but the standard kit that's produced, utilizes a certain battery charger.
Yes.
Whereas the handheld mic actually utilizes a different battery recharger. So that's our feedback. That would be, hey, it'd be great if that was an all-in-one,
Just a
type
one.
of charger. Yeah, just
I
a
got
sync you. But other than that, I would honestly say that's probably some of the only minor gripes that we have. It otherwise addresses, the needs that we have. And I think the something that's speaking to the state of affairs right now, pandemic and otherwise, is that obviously utilization of a product like this that has some level of voice lift has been, tremendously, or will be tremendously important, especially folks having to use masks and social distancing in play. And
you.
so
Right.
there's
Right.
there's been some buzz, at least we've kind of gone down the path of starting to have conversations with these clients about, hey, let's look at maybe adding in more of a lavalier style microphone, something that gets the mic element closer to your mouth with a mask on, so it's obviously easier for folks to hear you in the room. And so yeah, there's some nice traction that we're hoping to build around that. And of course, just kind of lends itself to the flexibility of that product and being able to offer something like that without having completely upgrade a part of the system, of course.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of people out there with products that do a lot more than what they realize. A lot of our products have a lot of expandability. Going into expandability with this unit, we offer the 801F, which is the interface.
Hmm.
Have you guys been utilizing that at all?
We haven't. No, we have not been utilizing that
Gotcha.
piece.
Okay. So I noticed some people might want to take audio from the room and maybe get it into another interface or get it streamed out, or there's
Sure.
many ways that we can adapt to the current situation. That's just one thing that box is used for, is to take that audio and send it somewhere else, essentially.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah. Yep.
okay, interesting, cool. All right, let's break into current trends, your point of view on the new normal in the marketplace currently, where you're shifting. How has your business changed during this whole scenario? How have you guys adapted? Obviously it's a challenge for all of us, but for you guys speaking, how have you guys adapted through this process currently?
Sure. Yeah, it's certainly no small secret. It's been challenging for many people in many industries out there. I think I feel a little fortunate. I think the AV industry in general, I think we're going to come out of this probably better than some, and a lot of it is just due to the very, very fast adoption of some technologies that maybe people have dabbled in, haven't done much of, and all of a sudden there's tremendous demand for products that obviously can allow people to do distance learning, remote working, things like that. So there has, things have changed quite a bit. And I'd be lying to you if I said that, the business is the same now as it was, say, a year ago. Obviously, I think everybody's feeling a little bit of pain right now. But it seems like a lot of things have shifted in terms of the types of solutions that people are looking for, and it's happening very quickly. And so that from a sales standpoint, the sales cycle has almost, you know it's occurring almost instantaneously now versus a process of proposal to walking through all those steps, and a few months later we can count on then a project coming down the pipe. I mean, this stuff is happening like lickety split because it has to, and particularly the industries are really the end users that are being kind of forced into finding solutions right now. Education is at the top of the list, so that's where a lot of our focus is right now. I'm not going to lie about that. Of course, there's CARES Act related money and things like that that's helping to drive a lot of those purchases and decisions, and just purely the fact that we need to figure out ways that we can continue to educate, provide curriculum, and when we get into the higher education side, just making sure that we're providing value to those groups, because they have to do the same. They have an obligation to their student body because people are spending a lot of money on their education, and so it's important that they are presenting them and utilizing the appropriate technology, in-room technology that they need to, so that their learning and teaching and learning process continues to be top notch. And so that's all important stuff. The corporate side, that's obviously slowed up quite a bit. And I don't think that's any small secret that, there's just right now, there's not so much, projects or so many projects or work happening in a corporate environment, and for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which, of course, a lot of people are working remotely right now. So there's not a lot of need for doing a lot of AV integration within corporate conference rooms and environments like that, which is, historically always been a very large part of our business and something that we focus on and will continue to focus on. But, things have obviously shifted a bit right now. And then, of course, I would also say, city, government, municipality, there's obviously been some definitely some movement in that industry as well, and looking at just council chambers, city halls, and things like that, because they're in the same boat. They're figuring out ways that they can continue to present to people and be able to host meetings and sessions and things like that needs to be public. So there's a lot of things happening in a very short period of time. So yeah.
Cool. Going back, you were actually going into one of the points I was about to make. The way you guys did business with your clients. You mentioned proposals. Mm-hmm. So obviously before was a lot different as opposed to today. Can you maybe compare and contrast how that business is conducted currently?
Sure. A bit. I think one thing that EPA Audio Visual really we hang our hat on is being, for a long time, truly being a premium kind of design build integrator. Right. So, we obviously elect, to work on that side of the business in terms of really partnering with end users in terms of design, and conceptual design, and then actually building out a solution specifically to them, as opposed to the whole bid process and on all those sorts of things that, are an important part of our business. But again, we look at it more along the lines of partnerships with our end users. And of course, that has not changed and will not change. But I think the timelines in which a lot of that stuff is happening has really been accelerated in a lot of cases. I mean, it's to the point where a lot of these conversations are needing to happen. And even today, we're not 100% sure what the future is going to look like in terms of, say, education right now. And that actually those announcements are supposed to be passing, off the governor's desk here at some point today. And so who knows, and again, even based on that info or that intel, that could certainly change the thought process that people have. And so the time that it takes to really, come up with a solution and bring it to market has accelerated so much right now, to the point where, it can be a challenge. I mean, number one, everybody always struggles with the resource side of it, make sure we have people that we need to do the work. But more importantly, the biggest challenge right now that we're experiencing is with equipment lead time. And that's just kind of holistically, I'm not picking on any particular vendor, but just, it's kind of changed different parts of our business because, we need to be very cognizant of, hey, what's truly available. And if somebody has a deadline and needs to get stuff done, there's going to be a point in time here where I may not be able to provide or get them the product or solution that they, are used to or think they want or need, because I just frankly cannot get it. And so, we obviously have to be very, open to coming up with alternative solutions and still meeting that expectation for what the customer has and their performance objectives, but we're being creative in the ways that we have to go to market and the sorts of things that we need to present. Happy to say that TOA has really not been an issue here in terms of being able to get product, but there have been challenges out there with other stuff, and so things have changed quite a bit. Stuff is really it's coming together much quicker now, and obviously the closer that we get to September, the fall, especially for education.
Right.
Yeah, that's really kind of go time for them. So not a lot of time left.
Cool. Shane, you jumped into a lot of the questions that I was about to ask you, excuse me, and I appreciate all the solid information, all really, really good stuff. Yeah, that's it. This concludes the podcast for this week. Shane, thanks again. We appreciate it. Be safe, stay well. And just keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're doing a great job out there.
Appreciate it, Eric. Yeah, likewise. Thanks for including me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Okay. All right, Shane, take care. And for the rest of you guys, stay tuned for next week for the new episode of TOA Sound Supply. Again, my name is Eric. Take care.